Hello, you beautiful souls. Look, I was really inspired to just connect with you all this morning after sitting outside and just really grounding and getting some fresh air. And I was thinking about the process that a lot of people get stuck in as I was like, how can I help someone today? What can I do to help others outside of myself today, outside of my clients, outside of, the one-on-one sessions and all of that? What can I share that would help? And imposter syndrome came up. And so often imposter syndrome is something that we have heard about, read about, experienced firsthand, but there's always this layer or this film around it where it's like, yeah, they got through it. Yeah, they were able to do it, but I can't. Why can't I? Like, what is it that's going to help me get through it? And so that's what I want to talk about a little bit this morning, because no one has everything figured out. Even I don't have everything figured out, but I share authentically the things that have helped me, right? And before I even understood what I was really doing, before, when I had that transition period from being on active duty and taking care of soldiers and living that sort of life, or from being a wife to being divorced and being a mom and learning how to navigate all of these different things in a new way, I felt imposter syndrome. Like, am I called to do this? Am I qualified to do this? And it really took me getting to that point where I realized that no one is qualified. Absolutely no one is qualified. People simply share their experience of what worked for them and how they transitioned out of it. And we magnetize people who are called to us that we can help. And that's where the magic happens, is that we are calling and we are magnetizing the collective of people that we are here to inspire, to help, to lead, right? Through a similar experience. And it doesn't make us better. It doesn't make us worse for any stage of it, right? And then that's where we get to choose as individuals, like, am I willing to show up? Am I willing to try something new? Am I willing to be vulnerable and perhaps fail? And it's just like I tell my daughter, she's 9 years old now, and I tell her often, like, failure is a blessing. Failure is something good, because we can take that failure and learn from it, learn what not to do. And, in my Army career, I wanted everything to be perfect. I was like, I can't fail. I can't be wrong. I can't do this or that. But as I started to rank up and as I started to work with higher ranking individuals, and I was able to work with 2-star generals and command sergeant majors, and I was in the 82nd Airborne Division. I got to do a lot of really cool stuff where I realized I was able to connect the dots, that my failure taught me something to be successful because I made the decision to learn from it. Does that make sense? So where I was in E3, E4, sergeant, E5, right? All of these other things where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm failing, I'm doing this and that wrong. But then as I was E5, E6, and I'm working in these various positions, I'm realizing, oh, this situation is familiar. As I transitioned out of the military and tried to translate my military career into a civilian career, or starting a business and life coaching and Akashic Records and healing myself and having conversations that were genuine with other people where I didn't want anything but to see them do better, I started to realize that my experience led me to certain trainings. It led me to certain passions. It led me to something more, right? And that's why I'm able to help people the way that I am today, because I followed that passion. I followed that spark. I followed that light that led me to more of my purpose. And I believe our purpose evolves and changes with us, right? So it's not something that's written in permanent ink that will always be the same. It will always look one way. No, you are a multi-passionate, multi-dimensional being. Like, you are a soul having a human experience, which means you get to do and be a lot of different things, which is exciting. And when we have that moment where we're like, oh my gosh, am I called? Am I qualified? Yes, you are. And your mistakes are what is the blueprint that is unique for you and the collective of people that are going to be drawn and called into you. And I want you to sit with that today and journal about it. If you have back there, if you have the Soulpreneur Life Journal that's on Amazon or soulpreneurlifellc.com, It's actually got more than 80 prompts for you to go in and really dive deeper into that as well. But it's really important for you to decide, okay, who have I been? Who am I now? And who and what do I want to be in the future? And if you don't know, that's okay. Understand that what that may look like today may be completely different tomorrow. But the joy in it is that you get to navigate it in a way that feels really good for you. And each and every single person that you look up to, I don't care, like I know Brene Brown is really big. All of these TED Talk speakers and people who have huge platforms, they've all shared stories. Every single one of them has shared a story where they felt insignificant, where they felt small, where they felt like, can I do this? Every single one of them, including myself. But the difference is saying, okay, I feel this, I felt that, now what am I going to do to shift out of it? And that's where I come in, right? That's where I come in and I help people say, okay, you don't understand who you've been. You don't understand exactly how to identify the beliefs that may not even align with you anymore, because let's be real, our caregivers' beliefs are often infused in us. And that's another thing that I really I can share so many stories about this, but even in the military, I joined and I was working with people who had never worked with women before. I was working with people who had never worked with people of color before. I was working with people from various walks of life, who small towns, big towns, cities, whatever, but they had to learn how to transition and fit into a space where they had never been and kind of unwind some cultural or kind of belief systems that they were raised to have, right? In order to find out who they are so that they could show up as themselves authentically. That is where you really just feel good. Like sometimes this is the easiest thing that I can share. You know that saying, money is the root of all evil, or any of those common sayings that we've all heard a dozen times. Do you really believe that? Who told you that? Why did they tell you that? Who told them that, right? Sometimes we call things old wives' tales or whatever the case may be. And if you really sit with yourself long enough, you start to understand that sometimes you're showing up in life as someone else because you haven't taken time with and for yourself to uncover who you are. And you deserve that. And, you know, I had a therapist share with me when I first had my daughter and I had baby blues and postpartum and all of that, you know, don't make your child your purpose, because that's why a lot of people have what's called a midlife crisis. They have that because their identity has become that child or their partner, or they get divorced, right? And they're saying, well, my husband, my wife, my child, they're my life, they're my purpose. And that's not true. They're a part of your life, but they each are assigned their own purpose. They each are assigned their own mission on life, on this world, on this big blue ball floating through space, if you will, right? So your purpose is something you have to uncover. You have to take time to uncover it. And it's something that no one can take away, right? Which is why I'm so adamant about saying, like, remember, it's not your partner, it's not your child, because all of those things are going to go away and do something that is their calling. You have to find what yours is. And you do that by sitting with yourself. You do that by journaling, right? Like, that's why I created those journals, because those prompts, not only did I create those prompts by going through the steps myself, going to therapy, doing shadow work, working in my Akashic Records for myself and with other clients, and all of these various stages, but it led me to understand that it's important to share these things with people in a way where they feel supported in exploring. And for some people, that's just journaling or voice clipping or working one-on-one with someone like me. And that's really where I find my clients have the most aha moments, is in our sessions, because a lot of times we know things or we feel things, but it's almost like we're waiting for a permission slip or permission to say it out loud or to accept it, right? So if you're feeling like I'm not called, I'm not qualified, you are. Sometimes it takes sitting alone with yourself, and sometimes it takes being in a community or being supported in a way that allows you to be seen and allows you to kind of navigate it in a way that perhaps other people aren't used to operating with you. Because a lot of times we operate with other people where we put people in boxes. This is my understanding of you. I want to label you a spiritual life coach. I want to label you an Akashic Records healer. I want to label you this or that, or a soldier or strong, and all of that. And when we start to seep out of that box of their understanding, it's like, wait a minute, who are you? What is going on, right? But that's okay. Their inability to understand who you are as a multidimensional being, expansive, that has nothing to do with you. That's their work that they have to do. You keep growing, you keep being great, you keep shining. Make sure that you check out, you can book a discovery call, an Akashic Records Session, or you can even order the journal if you want to work on your own. But I just felt called to share this with you all today, and I hope that you have a fantastic day, and I hope that this helps someone. So sending a lot of love to each and every single one of you. Bye.